Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is the 20th of December, 4 days before Christmas. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karina, Isabel, Julio, Ruben, Roxy, Leticia, Arturo, and Enrique in Peru. Thank you, Mauricio in Colombia. Thank you very much, Patricia Arbona in Argentina, Raj in Canada, Mary Scholl in Costa Rica, Tito Hidalgo in Ecuador, Marixa in New York, the USA, and Karen, I don't know who are you, but welcome. And welcome to the people who are connected in Facebook Live. Today is a very happy and sad day. Happy because we are close to celebrate Christmas, and sad because this is the last meeting of this year. 36 meeting
Sessions.
presentation. So as usual, let me show you what I prepared for today. This is how the story started. This is how the story started in April. I don't know if you know, but I started doing this because I didn't know how to use Zoom. I was completely afraid, frightened about what to do, how to teach, look at myself in the camera, and etc. That's how it started. And thank to all the people who have helped everyone to grow as professionals, especially the dean of the education school in Piura, Master Camilo Garcia, and all the people who have presented, Rana, Isis, Marixa. She works in New York too. She's from Peru, but she works in New York.
Yeah.
Angélica, Dennis, Inés, Mónica, Lisa o Liza, Mercilinda, Elizabeth, Marina, Ana María, Mary Scholl, Araceli, Edison, Gustavo, Raj, Christine, Mauricio, Olenka, Beatriz, Skip, and the international English online meeting, the roundtable we had with these wonderful friends and colleagues and excellent professionals. And then also thank you, Ruben Garcia, Rosemary in Bolivia, Mónica Rosas, Glenda Gallardo, and finally Eugene Deloso in Argentina. You see how many wonderful people were with us. No, what is coming in 2021? Panel discussion with the students of different universities from Latin America, and why not Canada, why not England, but that is the objective. New international meetings, with professors from all over the world. I have already proposals from people from Asia, from Europe, from Australia. They want to be with us. Research presentations of university students and professors from different countries. And this is something beautiful we are going to do, God willing, panel discussions in every country in Latin America. So we'll be talking about the reality of teaching English in Argentina, in Bolivia, in Ecuador, why not in Canada, in Costa Rica, and etc. And much more. So thanks 2020. I don't know if you know this little Santa Claus. He's my
The
grandson.
grandson.
It's your
Sorry,
Grandson.
grandson.
sorry.
Oh.
Grandson.
But he says Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and peace and love for everyone. He told me, grandfather, please tell your friends this message. I did. So today we
That's
have
great.
Karina Garcia. How long have I known you, Karina?
I think
Karina,
we've met in 2007. It's more than, don't know, 13, 12 years, Jaime.
thanks to David Fay ELT
Yes,
upgrade courses, right? And then Isabel,
exactly.
I don't remember how long I've known you and where I met you.
I think really it was Julio. It was
Ah, yes,
Julio and his
yes,
magic. Yes.
yes. Julio always doing magic. Leticia, wow, Leticia, I've been in Cajamarca with you, and you've taken me there so many times. Thank you for that. How long have we known, Leticia?
I think more than 20 years.
You, Jesus.
When TESOL started here in Peru,
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that we met there in that.
Well, I remember where I met Enrique in the jungle. He was one of the youngest speakers. How old were you then, Enrique? 10 years ago?
I think it was, yeah, 10 years ago. So I was yeah, 22.
Yeah, wow. And then Julio Valladares, well, I would say he's my father. My father in presentations, my father in traveling, my father in, I've learned so much from you. Thank you, Julio. How long have I known you?
Well, more than 20 years.
You see, my father, you see?
I'm really proud at what you're doing, Jaime, because Jaime always say, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? And I say, why don't you do it? And then here we are. Yes, yeah. Thank you, Jaime.
No, thank you. That's the sweet style. That's Julio's sweet style. And finally, Arturo. Wow, Arturo, thanks Julio, because he started taking us to study to Lima, and then we went to Camelot Institute, and then I met Sir Arthur Field. Thank you for being here, Arthur. How long have I known you then?
Wow, maybe in the TESOL convention too?
Yeah.
I think it was in Tacna, or I'm not. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, in Tacna.
You with your guitar. That's what that's how I remember you.
Okay.
You were playing some music. You were playing some music.
As usual. Okay,
Yes.
so welcome everyone, and we are going to start with the questions. We will have 6 questions. If anybody in the audience wants to make a question, make a comment, just raise your hand and you will be able to participate. And the first question is, let me show the beautiful presentation, that Karina prepared, sorry. Let me share. I'm not used to doing this. Okay, goodbye. This and this one. This is what Karina García prepared. So here is the first question. What problems do Peruvian teachers face in their institutions and cities? So Karina, you are the first one.
I think the slide, okay, so please complete the information in the slide. Thank you so much, Jaime. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you, sharing our experiences and sharing some insights about English language teaching in our country. Thank you for this invitation. And one thing that I would like to consider for this, to reply to this question, it is, I would like to focus on 4 different things, which is what problems do Peruvian English teachers face? I would mention there are 4 main things that I think we should consider: the diversity, training, connectivity, and uncertainty. So I would like to focus on the first one, which is first, before defining policies, before defining curriculums, I think we need to recognize that Peru is a multilingual, multicultural, and a multi-ethnic society. And based on that information, based on that recognition, we should define policies for English language teaching. The second point, it is training. What problems our teachers face, what problems they have in terms of training. I would like to divide in 2 different parts: for pre-service education and in-service teaching. For pre-service, I would say that it's necessary that it's needed to revise current demands for the future English teachers' profiles. Work closely with Mineru, especially during the teaching practice. It's necessary that pedagógicos, or teacher training colleges, and universities that train prospective English teachers work together with the current demands, what is needed from the English teacher in the country these days, not only under these special circumstances of COVID-19, but also what's going to happen in the nearest future. Revise curriculums, revise programs, to see if what the students have in the pre-service education, it is what they will really need in the future. And in terms of in-service teachers, I would think of four main things: information and communication technologies. What is needed from the teacher? What do they need? Also, another problem, it is the language proficiency. English language teaching methodologies training is very important, but also teachers need to be trained to get a higher standard in terms of language proficiency. I think it is 50 and 50%. The teachers, what they need, it is methodology trainings, perfect. But I think we teachers, we also need to be trained in the language itself. And also, after looking at and listening to different experiences, teachers this year, especially during this COVID-19 circumstances, we noticed that the teachers, what we need is also to incorporate into the curriculums in pre-service education, and also in terms of training for private and public institutions, we need to incorporate soft skills. How much do we train the teachers to lead with their students' emotional concerns, and also with their own emotional concerns? That is very important during the teaching process. The third thing that I would like to consider, it is connectivity. Working in rural areas is different to working in the city. Even working in the city, teachers have problems with connectivity, bandwidth, and use of equipment. Can you imagine the difference with rural areas? I come from the Peruvian Amazon, and I had to deal many years teaching under these difficult circumstances. So I think that what we have to do, the country, is define policies on how to support English teachers in rural areas and how to provide connectivity in order them to have equal opportunities for students and for teachers working in rural and urban areas. And also, I would like to finish about uncertainty. Teachers need to know about the future of their job positions, what's going to happen with them in the future. They need policies that help them to have a tenure in their institutions, and also uncertainty about what will be the demands in the nearest future about them. And another thing, it is what comes after the pandemic. How is the educational system going to change after the pandemic? I've heard so many teachers visiting, for example, the Peru Educa portal, and in their plenty of webinars they had with their teachers, the Ministry of Education, listening to the teachers or looking at what they write during the webinars and saying what's going to happen with us in the future. So it's necessary that we reply to their questions, not by saying we are thinking about this, but defining policies in order them to feel protected or supported by their institutions. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karina. Next, according to the flyer, it's Isabel's turn. Isabel?
Sorry about that. It took me so long to unmute myself.
Don't worry.
I'm trained, so nothing I can say about that. Yeah, I'd like to start by something that I should have said at the very beginning, which is thank you, Jaime. Thank you for this huge opportunity. Sharing with this so high quality panel is a privilege, really, and it's a privilege here to be here with you.
Privilege.
One of the things that I can see now is that the problems that we have in Peru are not our exclusivity; they are regional, which of course make them, can I say, more deep. because if it's something that we cannot completely fix in regional terms, it's our region that is going to suffer. So totally agree with the things that Karina just mentioned. And I think that at some point, language training has been missing. It's like we don't care much about language training when we should be, because I cannot teach what I don't know. So there are some options that are again online, and then we come into this loop where there's no escape, that if I don't have a connectivity, what can I do to do my course online? I also think it has to do with how also we manage our lives, because I think that the most difficult thing to do is to follow and finish an online course, because it has to be a very strong commitment. Because if you plan, let's say that you plan to do your course on Tuesday, and then on Tuesday something happens to your mother or to your children, and so you cannot do what you planned. So okay, you postpone it for Wednesday, and then when you connect on Wednesday, then there's no power, no energy. And then, so, okay, you postpone for Thursday, but when you try on Thursday again, something happens, and this is how, in the end, you drop a course. There are plenty of opportunities out there, and I wish we had all the connectivity that we deserve in our countries, because I do think that we have very committed teachers. Yeah, that would be my contribution here.
Thank you, Isabel. Next is Leticia Zabaleta in Cajamarca.
You're mute, Leticia.
Leticia, you need to switch on your microphone.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Jaime, because he's doing a great job for the development of teacher of English, not only in Peru, but in Latin America. Thanks for inviting me to this panel. I am honored to be here with Arturo, Julio, Karina, Mary, and to know and to meet Isabel, Enrique, and the other people who is here in this presentation. Well, I want to share, please, this this presentation, and I carry out a survey with 24 teachers from different provinces in Cajamarca. No, they were teachers and teacher educators from Selendín, Cajabamba, Bambamarca, Chota, and Jaén. No, the purpose of this quick research was to get input for this presentation, because I wanted to know the current situation in Cajamarca. Well, the problems we face in our institution, by and large, we have common problems in all Peru, and I think in all the world. No? The connectivity and internet problems for both teacher and students, especially in rural areas. In the case of Cajamarca, we have 60% of the population which belong to the rural areas. Technological devices was also a problem, because students didn't have computers or laptops, even smartphones to have classes. Most of them have to share devices at home, 2 or 3 siblings sharing their parents' mobile phone in order to have classes. No? In the Educación Básica Regular, the tablets were given to the students in September or October, I think. And in the universities, they have to adjust the budget in order to provide the students with telephones or with tablets. In the case of the university here in Cajamarca, they bought smartphones with internet connection for the students. And also the platform using institutions. We could observe that there were a great number of schools who didn't have platforms to work. No? Many private schools have closed, and students were moved to public schools. Public schools here in Cajamarca don't have access to the Minedu platform. So English teachers have to give classes via WhatsApp in the mornings, and then in the afternoons, the students have to send their products such as short descriptions, short paragraphs, or audios, etc. Well, in the case of the university, we have platforms. We do have platforms to register students, to publish students' grade, and to give virtual classes. No? And as you know, we have had a process of licenciamiento, and it was compulsory for the university to have access, internet access, and to do all the process in that platforms. No? Then teacher and students' lack of experience. No, we have taken maybe some courses through internet, but it is a different thing to be a student and to be a teacher. No, definitely we have to accept that we weren't prepared for this situation. It is very different to give a face-to-face classes and online classes. It was time consuming. It takes too much time to prepare classes, to prepare everything. No, it took time to get used to this new methodology, and of course it was tiring for both teacher and students. No? Another problem we had is that problems of a school dropout. 300,000 students dropped the schools as they don't have internet access, and 15% of university students left universities due to economic problems, mostly. No? And I consider also parents or family support. Houses became school. Some parents were supportive, others no. And I think it depends on the family background, and it was needed a lot of patience. That is my opinion, and in this first question.
Thank you. Now we have the boys' opinions. The boys, we are going to start with Enrique. Could you please stop sharing your screen, Leticia?
Yes.
Right. So, well, good morning, everybody, again. Thank you, Jaime, for this invitation. It's always a pleasure to be able to share with colleagues and, you know, collaborate and promote continuous professional development, right? I think that's something that we all should continue to do. And this is a great way to take advantage of the pandemic and create these spaces for discussion and for us to share ideas. So going back to the first question, what I try to do, I don't know if Jaime, you can pin my video so like people can see my my background. I didn't want to present the PowerPoint presentation, but I wanted people to like, I wanted to use my background. Is that okay? Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yes.
could you share your screen so it can look bigger?
Okay. Let me see if yeah, I can do that too. I wanted to do it this way because, okay, let me just give me one second. Okay.
Okay, that's better.
Great, Enrique.
All right. Okay, so I know that some of you, Karina, you have discussed a little bit of this, so I'm not going to talk about proficiency levels. You guys have already discussed that, and connectivity. Isabel and Leticia have already talked about that, but I wanted to talk about teacher tenure, right? Or el examen de nombramiento, right? That's a challenge. That's a problem that a lot of our colleagues have in schools, right? So el nombramiento or teacher tenure or la carrera pública magisterial in Peru is the process by which a school teacher can become tenured, right? Can have a contract here and in the public school system. And similar to the system in the States, you know, it allows for teachers to have a steady job and they wouldn't have to reapply every year. But that's a challenge because in order for teachers to be part, to go on a tenure track, they need to take a test. They need to take the Carrera Pública Magisterial exam, right? Which is written in English, and requires at least a B2 level of English for teachers to pass this test. So that's also a challenge that our teachers have. Because if they want to be nombrados, they want to be tenured, they need to pass this test. And this test requires them to have proficiency in English, as I said, at B2, and also it requires knowledge of English language teaching methodology. So there's a list of criteria that teachers need to know about. They need to be able to apply that to the teaching context, right? So I think that's, you know, you have mentioned a lot of issues like connectivity and proficiency levels, you know, and discussion with parents and communication with students. But on top of all of that, our English teachers in Peru need to be able to prepare to take this test and to pass this test if they want to move up the ladder or if they want to get tenured. So definitely that's another challenge that we need to think about. And I think these spaces also help train these teachers so that they can pass these tests, right? And then national curriculum, that's another big issue, I would say. From my experience training teachers in public schools, I know that the national curriculum was just implemented for secondary, for high schools, like secondary schools. It was just implemented a couple of years ago. So a lot of our English teachers and you know, teachers nationwide are actually learning about national curriculum. They don't know what it is like. It's a competency-based approach, right? It's based on competency. So the assessment of these competencies is different. So that's another problem. They need to read a lot. The whole document for like all the national curriculum, it's huge, right? There's 31 competencies and 3 of which are related to English language teaching, right? And on top of that, a lot of our English teachers also have to teach other subjects, right? If you work in a smaller school, a lot of times you have to teach maybe Spanish, you have to teach like religion or some other topic areas or subjects. So then you would need to have to learn about the national curriculum related to those subject areas. So those are some additional problems or challenges that our English teachers have here in Peru. That's my 2 cents. I mean, thank you.
Thank you very much, Enrique. Now it's Julio's turn.
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Jaime, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you to all of you too for being here. I think Leticia and Enrique has given us a kind of X-ray of what the situation, the teaching situation in Peru is like regarding English, teaching English, no? But I would say, I would like to add that there are things that we cannot change. There are things that they don't depend on us, like interconnectivity. What can we do? Yes, there are things that are out of our hands about, for example, regarding curriculum nacional. Yes, yeah, we can push, but we cannot do it just by being Julio or being Karina. No, we, as Arturo mentioned it, we have to be a united version of teachers of English. If we are not united, it would be very difficult for us to change something. But what we can change is our teacher self. Yes, that's something that we can do. So what is the main weapon of a teacher of English? And especially, first I would like to know, who am I as a teacher? Who am I as a person? First, I am a non-English speaking teacher of English. I'm non-native. If I assume that, I think it would be much better. Yes, that's one thing. Well, the second thing is, what is my main weapon for teaching English? My command of language. My command of language. And it's not, when talking about command of language, it's not like sounding more British or American, no? So I'm not going to say, I want to turn my computer instead of turn my computer. That doesn't really make a difference. Yes, English is now known as an international language. It doesn't belong to America, it doesn't belong to Britain anymore. Yes. So to me, we need, apart from what you've mentioned before, we need to work on our command of language. Then we need to work on our training. Yes, that's true. Yes, and I think we need to work on our own culture, on our own situation, our own context. Yes, as Isabel mentioned it, yes, things are similar in different countries of South America. But Karina also mentioned that in Peru, there are a great percentage of people who speak a different language. Not only Spanish, not only English, they speak 2, 3 more languages. If you go to the jungle, there are many indigenous languages. So what can we do about this? Yes. So I think first we need to know ourselves. What is my command of language? Where am I as an experienced teacher? Now we have webinars everywhere. No, I don't know when you are hiring teachers and they say, okay, what is your CV? And they bring like a bunch like this of participation in workshops. And then I ask, how many of those workshops have you really conducted? And they keep quiet. No, just I attended it. That has to be changed. Now we can see the other way around. Lots of webinars. Everywhere there is a webinar. We are webinarizing ourselves. Yes? But when do you do a webinar? When do you conduct a webinar? We can learn. We're always talking about learning and teaching. Okay, let's learn. Yes, let's learn. And it should start on ourselves. We're talking about also, Karina mentioned the development of soft skills. That's true. 21st century teaching is requiring a different set of skills from teachers. Have we thought about them? It's not only, okay, I'm mentioning the command of language, but there is much more to that. We should narrow that gap between the teacher that we have been and the 21st century teaching learning process. How can we do it? Interconnectivity, Julio, okay, that's right, yeah, but we cannot change that. What can we change about us? And I think I'm an advocate in the sense of being an educator. Teachers of English in Peru, now they have more teaching hours at the schools, private and public. And we only focus on English. Hey, we should focus on other skills. Hey, we are forming students for the future. 20 years ago, the teacher of English, here in Peru at least, was untouchable. Nobody wanted to mess with the teacher of English because they didn't know anything about English. The principals of schools, private or public even now, but private, they say, no, who is teaching English? Maybe if he's speaking in English, and he didn't know if I was making lots of mistakes. He didn't know what I was doing in my class. No? So we have to change that. And who is responsible for that? Oneself. Me, Julio Vedares, Karina García, Patricia Arbona, Enrique Linan. We have to change that idea of, okay, I have 20 years of experience. I am the top of the tops. Here I am, sharing with Leticia and Raj and Isabel and Ruben, Yes, but what about my learners? What do they say? Am I really forming my learners? Am I really teaching them values? What sort of values do you teach? What is your teaching? Okay, let's start. What is your teaching philosophy? Do you have a teaching philosophy? Do you have a statement? Have you ever written a statement of teaching philosophy? Raise your hands. How many of you have written a statement of teaching philosophy? Truthfully, yeah? From the bottom of your heart. Thank you. A very simple example. When we give homework to our students, write composition, 200 words, but we don't write anything in English. Is that teaching values? No, you're not. You're just being a good instructor. We are just being good instructors. So to sum up this, we have to think about leaving our instructor jacket outside and putting on our educator jacket. And for that, we need to do lots of research. We need to study more. We need to, as Raj mentioned, we need to develop this community learning. We need to share with our peers. We need to share with our peers who are not as comfortable as we are in our teaching situation. How often do we go to provinces and share? Now that we have this webinar, why don't we organize a webinar with people in Huancavelica, in Apurímac? Why not? No, because no, I prefer to be here with Jaime and his friends. That's not fair. That's not fair to our peers. No? So we need to be heard by who? By Minedu, the Minister of Education. When Minedu calls for experts, who are the ones who go? Arturo, sorry Arturo to mention you. Karina. Yes, Isabel. And three
Julio.
or four or five more.
Julio.
Yes, Julio, yeah.
Jaime.
And then Jaime. And then second meeting. Hi, Karina. Hi, Jaime. Hi, Arturo. Hi, Isabel. Third meeting. Hi, Karina. Hi. Come on. Why don't you bring representatives from the north, from the jungle, from the south, from the mountains? So then we can really think about an interesting curriculum. Sorry, my dear friends, I get so overexcited sometimes, but that's the way I am. And sometimes I have to control myself. That I know, but okay. Thank you. That's it.
Don't worry, you won't be participating in the following. And finally, Sir Arthur Field.
I'm not Sir Arthur.
By the way, we have reached 1,500 people in Facebook Live. So Minedu must be listening to us.
Okay, first of all, good morning, everybody. Second, Jaime, thank you for this opportunity. Once I heard from you, I received your invitation. I said, yes, definitely, I would like to participate and share some ideas with all our colleagues and foreign guests. No? First of all, I would like to, if possible, share the results of a survey that we launched at the beginning of the pandemic.
Please do, Arturo.
Let me see if I can do this. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go here. Okay. Can everybody see it? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this was organized as prepared and launched by Camelot and through our Standards Peru, which is a little center, I call it, of advanced analytics in education. What's next? Towards a digital future. And these were very fast, Jaime, so I won't make it that long. I will show you the results of a survey that we prepared and we launched, and we had 150 answers from different parts of Peru, because that's how I found out that we have a lot of Facebook communities. I reached Piura, I reached Tacna, Arequipa, everywhere. All the ones I found were called to participate, and we got 150. There was a first question, and I said, do you work for a public or private sector, or both? Because I wanted to make it inclusive, not only privates, both, okay? And we found that 68% were from the private, 26.7% from the public, and 5.3% from both, okay? They have one in the private sector, a job in the private sector, and a job in the public one. Another thing that we found out is what level do you teach? And we had secondary as the strongest, right? Secondary, then we have university, we have institutes, we have primary, private lessons. Another question was, do you hold a degree in education? As Julio mentioned, most of our teachers are English instructors. How many of us are educators? And we found out that 70.7% already hold a degree in education, and we still have a 30% that don't. Okay, but this is great because it has changed a lot since the moment we started teaching back in 19-something. Okay, another thing we found is, do you hold an English proficiency certificate? This is something Julio also mentioned, the command of English. And we found out that 67.3 do have one and a 32.7 don't. Okay, so there's still a little bit more than a 30% to follow. If so, which? This is good for Isabel. We found that FC certificates, we found CAE certificates, Michigan certificates, IELTS, TKT, CPE, and an enormous list of other type of exams. No, but these were the ones that showed more votes. Another thing was, at the beginning of the pandemic, were you already teaching online? Because the first question I had is, am I the only one who has very little experience teaching online, or somebody else has the same problem as I do? And we found out that 70.7% didn't have any experience teaching online, and only a 30% did. Okay, so this survey was launched around May, more or less, April or May, 2 months after. Okay, the beginning of the pandemic here in Peru. Another thing is, what platform are you using today? We found that Zoom was the one that mostly used, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Skype, Blackboard, and Moodle, in that order, okay? Another thing was, did you already have an internet connection at home at the beginning of the pandemic? And this was very interesting. We found that more than 90% did, and only an 8.7 didn't. Okay, so this was an interesting result. And then, what device do you use to teach from home? Most of them said laptops. We had mobile phones, PCs, iPads, okay? But then talking to a lot of people from the public sector, I found out, and I think I made this comment with you, Jaime, in the last webinar that you had, 80% of our public school teachers teach through a smartphone. They don't have a platform, or they don't have a laptop. This is something that has to change. This is, I imagine how difficult it might be to teach with a smartphone. If teaching with a laptop and all these digital tools is difficult, I imagine from a smartphone, a little screen, and I don't know, it's worth checking it. And were you prepared to teach online? As I said, 60% said no, and only 39% said yes. And have you received any training on the digital tools? This was interesting. This was at the beginning of the pandemic, remember. 88% said yes, and 12% said no. Another thing that we wanted to check was what type of training, and this is what Julio mentioned also. Most of them were webinars, webinars and webinars and webinars and webinars. Cursos cortos, excuse me for that, we didn't make the translation. Short courses, 55%. Tutorials and diplomados. This was the order, okay? And if you had to choose a way of teaching post-pandemic, what would it be? This was something interesting. The old normal way of teaching, I think it's gone. Honestly, that's what I believe. We won't go back to normal again after the pandemic. But it was interesting to see that a 45% still believe in a face-to-face teaching after the pandemic is over. Online is a 34%, blended a 9.3%, and so on, okay? And I think I'm almost finished with this first part. Do you think that online teaching is as effective as face-to-face or blended? And look at the results. Yes, believe it's as effective as face-to-face, and a 58% believe it's not. So this was for me a starting point. And I after that in September, We organized the second one, October, at the end of October, we organized another one after having passed many months of this pandemic. And only this, no? How long have you taught English? This was something I was interested in knowing. One is that we had more than 20 years, 11 to 20, 6 to 10, 1 to 5. You can see it on the screen. I don't want to make it longer. Okay. Another thing we ask is, where did you study English? Look at this. IPNA, Británico de Idiomas, school, university, pedagogical, or technological institute. Okay, interesting to have in mind. Another thing was, where did you study to teach English? Look at this, university, almost the 60%. Technological institutes, private institutes, and cultural associations. Okay. Another thing was, where were you trained to teach English? Name the institution. IPNA, International Certificate, Camelot, Británico, Pedagógico, Universidad de Piura, Sed Professionalization. Okay, all of these were mentioned by the teachers. Another thing was, well, this is the same thing, excuse me. How many years ago did you graduate as an English teacher or instructor, to be inclusive? Okay, not only teachers, everybody. And look at this. Okay, so this tells us all the experience that we might have and all the things we have to share in common. Another thing was, for example, do you belong or have you belonged to a teachers association? Look at this. Yes, 35%, and 64.4% no. I'm talking to a formal teachers association. Then, in case your answer was affirmative, could you name the institution? TESOL, Asociación Peruana de Profesores de Inglés, they still remember API, IATEFL, Sociedad de Profesores y Colegio de Profesores. Almost finished, don't get bored, please. Are you part of a virtual group, organization, or Facebook community? This was an interesting thing to ask, and they said yes, 84%. 15% said no. And look at this. English teachers in Peru, Peruvian English teachers in Peru for everybody, NYC teacher community, Camelot teacher training, Peru Tech, Red de Profesores de Inglés, English teachers in Arequipa. And the list is continues and continues and continues. Are you satisfied with the services? Yes and no. You can see it in the screen. I don't want to make it longer than that. And look at this. If your answer was not, what other services would you like to receive? And this is what they gave us answers. Materials for virtual classes, frequent training, support with more updates on teaching, methodology updates and virtual resources. Where there should be workshops more appropriate to our reality. Maybe a little less of we offer your classes to discussion forums on academic growth. This is what Jaime is doing. That's great. More resources and new education tendencies. TESOL, TEFL certificates at affordable prices, e-guild support, real training. This is what Julio and I mentioned at the beginning. We have to get together as one. If we don't, nothing will change in the future, nothing. And were you prepared to face COVID-19 pandemic? Look at this, no and yes. And what do you lack? Digital device as a laptop, PC, mobile, internet connection, full-time or part-time job, and others. Almost finished. Do you have health insurance? Look at this. Yes and no. We still have a 15% of teachers that don't hold a health insurance at all. Another thing is, what is it, a public or private? Public, 67%, private, 17%, is 16% both. And your income comes mainly from an institution located where? Why this question? Because so English has become international now, more than ever. We can teach anywhere in the world, but still a 96.6% comes from Peru, and a little percentage comes from abroad. And we have a lot of competition, believe me, from teachers from all over the world. And how many months a year with this I finish? I think this is the last one. Do you receive a fixed income? This was another question I had in mind, because teachers that work in schools have an income only for 10 months, not for 12. And they have a problem sometimes with money. Others don't have a fixed job, only teach as a freelance. And you can see this, no? 66% all the year, which is great. We still have a 6 to 10 month, 24 or 25%, and 8.9% 1 through 5. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Wow, thank you, Arturo, Karina, Julio, Enrique, Leticia, and Isabel for the answers to the first question. I guess we have a whole an overall view of what's going on all over Peru. I guess this information should be given to the authorities of the Minedu and the Education Ministry and all the specialists of English. Mary Scholl, I think she has something good to tell you at the end of these presentations. Because of time, there will be 3 speakers answering the question number 2, the question number 3 answered by the other 3 speakers, and then, okay, so you are, I don't know, alternating, you say? Alternating?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
I'm making up new words in English. So you have 3 speakers for the next question, number 2, and 3 speakers for the next question, so we can give time to the people in the audience here to participate. So the next question is, let me share Karina's presentation. And the next question is, what should be done to change that reality? Okay, Karina? Karina?
Thank you, Jaime. So I will be precise in this. As I mentioned, 4 main things. What should be done to change that reality? I think Julio said that sometimes we do not have the possibilities to solve these problems, but we can think of ahead, we can think of what to do to support the teachers and also to provide ideas. In terms of diversity, what could be done? I think the curriculum should be contextualized, especially the curriculum provided by Minedo, and also by contextualize that we live, Peru has the jungle, Peru has the mountains and the coast, and this is where the teachers work, and the curriculum should be contextualized to this. I know that the teachers, they are doing their best to contextualize the content of the national curriculum to their personal circumstances, but also this should be, I think, stated in the national curriculum. Teaching English under an intercultural perspective is crucial, is key for helping the teachers to develop classes that are appropriate for the students also. In terms of training, it was mentioned that free online training should be provided to teachers. Nowadays, online or blended, in the future, face-to-face. But these trainings should be focused not only in terms of ELT methodologies, but also in terms of language proficiency. Also, ICT materials design, it's very important. And I will insist on the importance of involving pre-service education in national trainings. The students that belong to pre-service programs, the ones who are in the teaching practice, should always be invited by the Ministry of Education, especially, and involved in what the curriculum demands are, so that when they finish university, they are ready to start their professional career, knowing what is expected from them. And teachers during the teaching practice, they should work closely with the Ministry of Education. In terms of connectivity, this should be provided and look for possibilities that all teachers in rural and in urban areas have access to. For uncertainty, I think it's important to redefine and set up a national policy for job positions, a national policy for curriculum. And also, I think that changing this, all these things that sometimes we cannot do it, but we should start by changing what we are doing, as Julio mentioned, in our classes. There is the first step. There is where we should start, giving the best of us every day to help our learners to become successful in English language learning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karina. So we have time for two more speakers to want to express their opinion about the second question. Anybody? Isabel.
Yeah, thank you, Karina. Very interesting points of view. Just want to say that Arturo was really very generous, because as soon as he was processing the answers to the surveys, he was publishing the results. So we were aware of his investigation. Thank you so much, Arturo. You're always like at the top of the top of the top.
It's for everybody. It's for everybody.
And I just want to say something that might sound...
No, it's mute.
I just want to go back to something that might sound a bit basic, but this is why I'm mentioning Arturo, and I do believe that to find what's not going right and to find where is a space of improvement, we really have to ask. We really have to research. We really have to make questions. This is something that I truly believe in. So one of the things that maybe we can all as groups or associations of teachers, something that we can push to do is to do more research, to find more spaces where we can make significant changes, maybe with actions that are not so big, but that can bring big benefits, no? What is Cambridge doing about that? I don't know if you have heard, but in 2025, it's going to become optional to include English in the PISA exams. So we hope that Peru is one of the countries that embrace that opportunity, and from Cambridge, Cambridge will be collaborating and writing those questions, which I think is going to be very interesting, because we will really know what the come-outs, what are the results of all the policies and actions that have been done in the public school are bringing, no? So that's going to be very interesting to see. But once more, it's going to be optional for the country, so hopefully Peru will say yes to that one. Also, I don't know much, and I have to be honest about this. I don't know much about the public sector at this point, but what I do know is about the private sector, and it's been very difficult for the financial side of the schools to maintain things, and this is not only maintaining the well-being and the happiness of their teaching staff or of their students or the parents, but it also has to do with the financial side. And by saying this, what I'm trying to communicate is this is a time when we all have to collaborate and support each other. The financial side of things may become at some point our worst enemy if we don't rely on each other. And maybe here I'm going to be the disruptive one, but I really think that the natural thing is at some point going back to something blended, or at least include something face-to-face. And this is not because English cannot be learned or cannot be taught through the website. This is because it's the natural way of things to happen. And maybe imagine one of your children or yourself when you were younger. It's not that I see you on Facebook and I'm going to say, oh, how handsome is Jaime. No, I see you playing your guitar and I see you singing and I say, oh my God, how handsome is Jaime. So it has to happen, and that sort of things happen in real life. So I would say, and I hope someone is also on my side here, but I think that staying only virtual is not a good way to go. So I give you space. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to give space to someone else. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Isabel, for your kind and sweet words. Anybody else? We have time for, yes, Arturo, thank you.
Very short, Jaime, this time. I agree with Karina. I think a blended is the tendency. I am part of a commission in the Lima Chamber of Commerce in which we have a lot of universities, institutes, schools, and everything. And the tendency comes or goes towards a blended scenario, more than a face-to-face or more than a online. No, I think it's going to be a blended. But things are going to change, definitely. Definitely they will, definitely. Another thing is that what should be done to change that reality. I think that for me, and based on many years of experience, and more important of all, seeing that other professional sectors have done, because remember that I'm very fortunate of being part of this chamber because I can see what other sectors are doing, okay? And I believe that seeing what other professionals have done, it starts by getting together. There's a very strong tendency of trying to get together. No, so even you would be surprised. Have you heard about, you know what pirotecnicos are, right? Now, there is a formal sector in the chamber of empresas pirotécnicas. And I say pirotecnicas, but these are the formal ones. They're getting together to get, send their voice or make their voice heard by the Ministry of Education, by Congress, by different people, because nobody hears them. And I think the same thing is happening with teachers. If you ask, as Julio mentioned, if you ask someone who is the voice for the teachers, nobody is really. Julio has an opinion, Jaime has another one, Maritz, everybody has an opinion. But what is the formal opinion of the sector? We don't have that. So I believe, just to make it short, that we need to get together as one professional body by institutionalizing our sector, looking for each other benefits, defending our rights, not going into politics, not going into all these kind of things. That's not the idea of this body, is to defend ourselves and to help each other. And if another pandemic comes after this, but I am sure, I don't want to be negative, but I am sure this is the first or the second one, we're going to see a lot more. We have to be ready. We have to be ready, not everybody on their own. That's my personal opinion. Thank you, Jaime.
Thank you so much, Arturo. And I remember the doctors explaining this pandemic to us at the university. They say there have been other pandemic all over the world. Thank God, after many years. So let's hope the next one comes in 100
many years.
In 100 years.
Okay,
Yes.
now it will be turn for Enrique, Julio, and Leticia. The next question. And the next question is, what can we, I guess Julio said that before, what can we and institutions do to help our colleagues in our area? What can we do to help our colleagues in our area? That is Piura, Chiclayo, Puno, wherever you are.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, please, Leticia.
Okay, well, I think that the Ministry of Education must implement a good platform for all the students and for all the institutions in all levels, no, primary, secondary, university, because it is a part of an educational policy. That is a must for the Ministry of Education to implement such platforms in order that students have a better learning and teaching process, because learning process, we are going to continue with this pandemic. It is not going to finish. We are going to continue like that, maybe all the 2021. So we have to be prepared for that. So from now to March, when the classes starts, the ministry have the opportunity to implement that internet connections in all schools, as well as provide with technological devices such laptops or tablets. No, they have to be available not only for teachers, not only for students, but also for teachers. No? On the other hand, we must continue training on methodology. As Julio said, what we are doing for ourselves to improve ourselves as teachers. How many courses have we followed? We have courses everywhere, free courses, from the Canvas, mock courses, the webinars Relo Andes has organized, the British Council also, editorials have also given that kind of courses, free courses for students. We all had the opportunities to download readers and books from different libraries around the world. No? And then we have to continue on that, on training online methodology, no? Because teaching online implies different strategies and materials to be used. Now we use photos, we have blended learning, no? Rubrics are more used now, no? We need to have more training on technological tools, and not only to know which technological tools we use, but how to use them according to the topics or skills to be developed. Now we have hundreds of pages in the internet to teach listening, reading, speaking, writing, grammar, vocabulary. No? So we have to take advantage of that. Another important aspect, I think, is to have meeting among the teachers staff, to share what experiences have we had this year, no? Because we are finishing the academic year in all Peru. To share ideas, to share some problems we have in common, how to solve them, how can use materials, how can we adapt material. So I think it depends also, not only the institutions, but it depends on us. You know? What do we do to be better teachers every day? That is my opinion on that question.
Thank you, Leticia. Enrique or Julio, please.
Julio.
Julio,
Okay.
go on.
Okay. I agree with what Leticia has mentioned. Going back to the initial question, you know, what can we do, or our institutions do, to help teachers grow? Yes, I would say I would focus on sharing knowledge, as we are doing now. Yes, but in a different level. Yes, we know that in our rural areas or towns where, like Arturo, I suppose your statistics were based on the capital cities of different, from Peru, no? Piura, Arequipa, Lima. So that's not Peru. It's Peru, obviously, but work on Huancavelica, work on Puno, work on even Cajamarca, no, Leticia. So work on Amazonas. Yes, I think if the statistics were based on those rural areas, they should be very different, yes. Super different.
Could be.
Yes. So I think we should start sharing knowledge and also forming learning communities. I really love that idea that I got it from Raj. Yes, learning communities. Something that we can do. It's like now I was teaching a teacher training course, but there were 2 teachers from Huancavelica. That's why I mention Huancavelica every time. And I say, how many teachers are there? And I said, we are around, I know around 40 teachers. Okay, where can we get together and talk openly? And they were very enthusiastic about that idea. And that really showed me the need that there is inside Peru. Yes, it's like Paddington Bear, no? Where was he born? No, he comes from the darkest of Peru. Yes, so we should reach that. We should reach that Paddington Bear places. We should go there. And now with this technology, we can do it. Not only based our webinars on, okay, I work for Universidad Peru, so I have to promote my courses, so I work for X institution and I have to promote. No, it's like by Julio Valladares. I would like to share. No? And then I can say, hey, Jaime, now that you're in Huancavelica, I can get you in touch with Arturo Field from Camelot. I can get you in touch with Leticia Calderon from the Universidad de Cajamarca. So then we start building, yes, that learning community that we need to do. Yes, and by having those learning communities, then we can have like a big one, as Arturo mentioned it, because united together will be stronger. Teachers of English, yes, educators, yes. So that's what I mean, in my opinion, my humble opinion, because sometimes our ego, you know, starts. I always have to say humble opinion. Yes, it's just we should start, as I said at the beginning, by ourselves. If I start changing a little bit, one step at a time, then do. So that would also help me to do what Arturo says, what Isabel mentioned, do some research. Okay, I can start working with teachers from other regions who have a different teaching learning context from us. So what can we do in order to change that? What can I do in order to change that? I think that the question that I'm going to leave it with you, what can we, each of us, do in order to change that? Thank you.
Thank you, Julio. And finally, Enrique.
Thanks, Julio. That's a great segue into what I wanted to share with you. Because you asked this question, right? Like, what can we do? And I wanted to offer each one this approach. It's an approach or a model for coaching, actually, and you can actually use this to answer the question that you just posed, Julio, right? What can we do? So start analyzing yourself and reflecting on what you want to do, right? So this model is a model that we use for coaching. If any of you is familiar with coaching, this is something that you can do with your students, with an employee, with a colleague, right? It's an approach basically to, instead of like giving you the answer, you ask questions to find the answer yourself. When you ask this question, what should be done? I was thinking, you know, I don't want to give you the answer. I think each teacher has a different reality. I will not know what the reality is for all those people, you know, watching on Facebook Live. So I wanted to offer this model for coaching, and it's called the GROW model. So you think about a goal. What is your goal? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to improve your teaching practice? Do you want to improve your language proficiency? Then you think about your reality. Where are you now? Which is very important. A lot of times we are not aware of what our strengths are. And then, as Julio was saying, right, we just, we think, you know, I've been teaching for 25 years and that's all I need, right? But we need to think about what our reality is and then identify those strengths and maybe also weaknesses. And then we should go and look for the options. That's where the O stands. That's what O stands for. Options. What options do you have? And then Leticia has already mentioned some options. And finally, what will you do? What is your action step? How can I take action? And I can start small. I can start, you know, practicing with a colleague. I can start, you know, reviewing or joining these weekly webinars that Jaime organizes or any other Facebook group organizes, right? So I give you and I offer you this model. If it works for you, maybe take a picture, just take a screenshot. Maybe you can use these very simple questions to reflect on what you can do. And then back to what you were do a lot of things. Something that I always recommend teachers is, you know, maximize the use of English. You know, simple as, you know, use your phone like in English language, change the settings and use it in English. As simple as that. Your Gmail account, your Facebook account, right? Just do that and then make English part of your daily life. YouTube, you know, like there's lots of videos. I hear a lot of people say like, oh, you know, Rick, I don't have the money to go and study abroad. But you know, now you can find information on YouTube or even Netflix, right? If you have the luxury of having a Netflix account, than what shows in English. MOOCs, I know Karina can talk more about open English programs, but I have been a learner in these courses, and they're great. There's also Future Learn. British Council has uses Future Learn platform to offer free online courses for English teachers. Also, Coursera has online courses. These are the famous massive open online courses for teachers. So you can access any of these courses and then learn more and practice your English. Also sign up for a prep course for Carrera Pública Magisterial. Peru Educa Fanglish, my dear friend Cristel Loyola offers courses for English teachers who want to learn more about Carrera Pública Magisterial. I wanted to share briefly the curriculum that all English teachers in Peru should learn about, right? As you can see here, it says Methodologies fundamentales. I'm sure teachers who work in public schools know this curriculum already, but you see listening for GIS, intensive listening, extensive listening. This is the curriculum that Ministry of Education mandates for all English teachers in Peru. So this is a checklist, right? You should look at this and be like, check, I know what this is. I use it in my classroom. I know how to apply it. So do your research. And then if you don't know about any of this, then look for information online or sign up for a course to learn with colleagues about these. And finally, something that I wanted to mention, and I promise this is the last thing I'll say, is I know that we were discussing we're discussing diversity and how can we think about globally and how can we include other areas. The national curriculum has this approach on cross-curricular areas or cross-curricular approaches, right? So look, it talks about diversity, environment, gender equality, orientation to the common good, el bien común, right? Pursuit of excellence, intercultural approach, and enfoque de derechos. So this is part of the national curriculum. It's right there. And all English teachers in Peru from all areas, not only English teachers, should be promoting this in the classroom. But then you go shopping and you go to Ripley and you see that people are skipping the line, right? And they don't want to, and you think about orientation to the common good. How does that apply in the day-to-day life? It's there, teachers. It's part of the curriculum, and we need to start thinking about how can I implement this? How can I, promote this in my classroom? That's then again another big conversation. But it's a good place to start, asking ourselves those questions, those powerful questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before going on with the two final questions, anybody here in the audience who would like to say something, to express his or her opinion or idea?
Good morning, Mr. Jaime Cajima. My name is Elmer Briceño. I am from Cajamarca.
Hello, Elmer.
Good morning, dear speakers. Well, I would like to make a small contribution about how our English course has had a new impact in our system of education. Well, we have had and faced many episodes during this COVID-19 pandemic. However, it's necessary to make an analysis of our performance as teachers, as English teachers, because before this year, we hadn't some skills, some techie skills, no? And what's more, we didn't find the correct applications, virtual applications to teach English. However, apart from this, I would like to mention that it's very important to consider that when we teach online, it's very important to motivate our students and be motivated as English teachers. Because when you feel motivated, you can give a better result. And when you motivate your class, your teaching is going to be or is going to obtain better results. So it's very important to be organized with our classes, and it's very important to have an organized lifestyle that English teachers do, because some of our colleagues, maybe they could have 2 or 3 jobs just using virtual way. However, sometimes it limits your performance as English teachers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elmer. How old are you, Elmer?
I am 33.
You have a young voice.
Well,
thank you
yes.
for your contribution. Anybody else, please, here in the audience before we go on with the two final questions? There is a prize. There is a flight trip to Cusco.
Can I say something?
Jaime, I want to go to Cusco.
Yeah, okay. You have to participate, Mary. Anybody who wants to speak?
Well, can I say something? I'm not from Peru. I'm from Argentina.
But you are our friend, so that's enough.
Okay, well, I'm from Argentina and I have listened to you all very carefully, and there are many points in common. We are having serious problems in the way we are teaching in Argentina because it's still very traditional. And we need to think about the type of student we are teaching because they are the future. So do we want them to go on teaching a type of education based on the traditional model? I think that we need to change. And it is not just methodology, as one of you said, it is also communicative competence. They need to be able to speak fluently because we are models in the classroom. So if we are models, we need to help them speak fluently and intelligibly. For this reason, I think that, well, I teach phonetics, that's why I always insist on this. They need not only intelligibility, but also fluency, because interpretability, comprehensibility are important when we are in front of our students. And besides, something very important is to work together, as Julio has said, and all the other teachers here have agreed on. The idea is that we should share information together, and we need to use metacognition. We do not reflect on our teachings as much as we do. And we need to work together in order to learn from one another. It is very important. Normally here we work individually and we really don't know what our neighbors are doing, but we are together here teaching the same group of students. So if we share information about ourselves and about the students we are having, I think that we will improve our teaching and their learning a lot. So I think that getting together and sharing our experiences is one of the most important things we should do. And besides, we should remember that this transformation in education starts in the classroom. Thank you very much. And I need to leave. Jaime, this is very interesting, but my family is waiting for me.
I know, Patricia. Family first.
Thank you very much. See you any other time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, before we start with question number 4, something that I love about these meetings, I don't call them webinars because this is a meeting, a reunion. Everybody speaks, everybody knows everyone. Something that I love about these meetings is what Gustavo Gonzalez from Argentina mentioned, is that we don't have more globalization, but localization. I love listening to people speaking with Argentinian accent, with Purano accent, with Limeño accent, with Colombian accent, excuse me, with Costa Rican accent. It's a mixture of, I love this. That is diversity, so beautiful.
This is diversity.
Yes, yes. So we are going, Marixa, you want to say something, Raj?
Yeah, I just want to share my experience in here. I'm from Peru, but I've been teaching here for many years. I teach Spanish in New York, and it's very important to hear your experience in Peru. Something that I want to share is what we do in my school. My school is an international baccalaureate. I don't know if you guys hear about that. It's Bachillerato Internacional.
Yes.
So I don't know if some of you belong to international baccalaureate school. No? It would be great if you know some school, let me know, please. So we focus in soft skills. So there we work with the students to how to become leaderships, how to work as a teamwork, how to solve problems, how to have to develop edits, how to be flexible, adaptable, how to develop in interpersonal skills. So this is what we work on the students. This is what International Baccalaureate School focus on. So this is my experience in US. I'm very happy to be part of this program because I'm learning very much. So I would love to continue to participate in this. Like Jaime said, this is no webinar. This is like a friends with a exchange experience. We offer our experience in different places. So in the future, we can continue to work more in those skills.
Thank you, Marixa. I will be in your house to hear more. Your house is my house. I will be there.
Also, I want to share, you guys talk about diversity. I love that word because I work with kids, diversity kids. I work with kids all over the place. So we need to have open-minded open-minded, to be able to understand students from different places, teach the kids how to work, how to be open, how to listen, and how to communicate. This is, I think, the key in to be a teacher, to be part of the school.
Thank you, Marixa. Okay, let's go on with the last two questions. This presentation was prepared by Karina Garcia, so thank you so much, Karina. The next question is, what should we do after the pandemic is over? This is what Karina prepared. So I don't know if you, Karina, want to talk, or two or three other people.
No, yes.
Okay.
Very sure. And one thing that we have to consider also, it is that teachers will not be the same after the pandemic. So when the pandemic is over, teachers will have acquired different skills that they didn't develop in the past. And also teachers will be ready to face new challenges in the nearest future. I think what we should do after the pandemic is over, it is that teachers should be provided with more trainings in ICT tools. And they have used Google Meet, they have used Zoom, Teams, and different platforms, Moodle, but the face-to-face learning and the blended learning also will be part of the system in the nearest future. But the face-to-face learning is not going to be the same. I'm sure that teachers will use all these resources in a better way, even in their face-to-face classes. They will be ready to use all these resources to help their students to understand and to use and to perform the language properly, and also through blended learning. So to empower this knowledge that they have about ICT tools, I think what we should do as teachers, I'm not talking about principles, I'm not talking about programs, it is to help each other to continue working and reinforcing our knowledge about ICT tools. Another thing that we should do after the pandemic is over is think about the possibility of providing teachers or in communities of practice supporting each other in terms of soft skills. This is what we need to work with the students. Someone mentioned in the group that soft skills is very important. So the situations that teachers faced during these days is completely different. I heard so many teachers saying, I didn't know about the real life of my students before the pandemic, listening to their problems, how they struggle with emotional problems at home. This is very important to consider. And the teachers, when they come back to the face-to-face classes, I'm sure that they will focus their attention in other aspects that they didn't do in the past, they didn't do it before. So what we should do also when the pandemic is over is keep working under these communities of practice that is very important. Sharing is caring, heard in a group of communities practice, and this is very important. We should keep learning with humbleness. We should keep sharing and we should also keep working all together. Someone mentioned that united we can achieve our goals, not necessarily expecting things from the government, from the state, from the institutions, but we could support each other, support teachers, support colleagues, support pre-service students, and think that with the creativity, with the skills, and with the passion that English teachers show every day in their classes in Peru, I think we will do it better than we were doing in the past. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karina. I want to apologize. Leticia is telling me that this is question number 6, right?
Number 4.
4. No, is that okay? Okay. Sorry. I'm nervous. I'm still nervous.
Come on. Come on, Jaime.
I'm a young nervous teacher.
Are you nervous?
Okay, 2 more people, please. Yes, thank you, Arturo.
Yes, forgive me for this, but I wrote down something, a very short thing, but I don't want to forget the points. Okay.
Don't worry.
Number one, I want you to have in mind that there will be no way back to normal. Fact number 1. Okay. Then, from my point of view, we must keep on specializing in the use of digital tools. For example, artificial intelligence, big data, among other tools that can make our teaching much more meaningful and efficient. And never forget that we must keep on working on our soft skills, as Julio mentioned, and some of you, some knowledge. I say this, we have to become psychologists. We have to start, we have to find a way to understand our students. Are they ready to receive the information, or are they not? We have to see what's their mood before we start a class. It's easy when you have 1 or 2 or 3 in a classroom, but when you have a big group, it's a lot more difficult. Another thing is work on values, as Julio mentioned, and you, Jaime, and others. No. Second is that remember that we are in the information era, okay, right now. But it's not about how much we know or how much we can learn. It's what we can do with that information. That is the tendency nowadays. It's, as I said here, we're in the information era. It's not a matter of how much we know or how much knowledge we acquire. It's a matter of what we do with it, okay? How we use this information in favor of our communities. Third, and almost finished, most teachers, from my point of view, should have a PC or a laptop, minimum, to work with. Never again this thing of working with a smartphone if we want to make our teaching better, okay? Online teaching is here to stay. A good internet connection is also a must, and keep up with the training and how to use digital tools effectively. And finally, I am a true believer that you have to become a member of a teachers association as part of your professional development. I will preach that until the last day of my life. I think that that's where you learn. That's where you acquire a lot of knowledge and new experiences, and we meet interesting people like all the ones we are here today, and we can exchange experience. And I would call this, Jaime, a conversatorio. That's how we call it in Spanish. I don't know how to say that in English, an exact word, but it's a conversatorio, more than a webinar, definitely.
Yeah,
thank you, thank you,
thank you, Arturo, and thank you for telling me. I'm going to be short, and finally, because that made me feel relaxed. Because I love time. I love to start at the time and finish at the time.
Forgive me for that.
No, Arturo, please. This is the last conversatorio, so we will finish until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So don't worry. And that is true, Arturo. Belonging to an association, Enrique started, I guess, to present his first workshop in Peru TESOL, right?
Yes.
And so did I when I was as young as Enrique, and so unexperienced. I also started presenting at Peru TESOL. And you
know where I started, Jaime? In Beta, in Bolivia.
Wow.
In Beta TESOL. That was an awesome experience. Yes, in Oruro. That was my first presentation. Yes.
Well, and the last one, and the next one to answer this question, because we have a space for one more guest speaker.
I just wanted to add something, Jaime.
Please, Raj.
I think we're talking about developing a learning community that has come up a few times. And then I think Enrique was mentioning about coaching and soft skills have been mentioned. So many wonderful points have been made. I'd like to say if we could develop the spirit of curiosity and hospitality as teachers, you know, like really becoming curious about not just as teachers or people imparting information, but creating real relationships in the classroom so that there is a willingness to learn as well as receive feedback, so that there is a give and take as we are evolving. And I appreciate you saying that there is no returning to the normal we knew. There's an emerging normal to which we need to adapt. Really enjoyed the conversation this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Okay, and we have the final question will be which will be answered by all the guest speakers, and then we will have our summary. We will give the certificates and no certificates.
And the raffle also.
And the raffle, yes, the trip to Cusco.
Trip to Cusco.
Okay, so the last question is, what should teachers do to get their professionalization? Okay, so Karina, because this is your presentation, your PPT.
You got, I think this is question 5. We have 6 questions, I guess.
Yeah, but so the sixth question will be the wrap up and the summary.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
Okay, what should teachers do to get their professionalization? There are so many ways. One thing that I would mention it is that ongoing professional development is very important. The professionalization is not only getting a formal certificate from an educational setting, but ongoing professional development also contributes a lot, attending to trainings, attending to webinars, being parts of communities of practice. That provides a lot to teachers to their professionalization process. It's very important also to work on all the teachers get their higher educational degrees in their specialization area. Master's degrees, PhDs are very important. Certificates in TESOL are very important. The theoretical background is important and the practice as well. And also in terms of language proficiency, it is necessary that, as I mentioned at the very beginning, ELT methodologies training is important, but we also should focus on training ourselves in terms of getting higher and higher levels of language proficiency as we are the role models in the classroom. So these, all these important things are necessary also to be set up in national policies, like we demand teachers, for example, in private institutions especially, that they hold international certifications. So this is very important, and in public education as well. But what are we doing to provide teachers the training to get those international certifications? So, and also another thing, I keep mentioning this, we learning about soft skills is also very important, and this will contribute to be integral teachers in terms of we know not only about language teaching, but also about other things that we notice that we need. And curriculum in pre-service education, curriculum in pedagógicos need to be advocated to work on this. What is needed? What are the current demands about teachers, and prepare them for the future? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karina. Next.
Can it be me?
Isabel.
Oh, Isabel.
Okay.
Isabel, go. Go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah, because Letty was also raising her hand.
Okay.
You can start, Isabel, and then I continue.
Okay, great. I also want. This is something that I'm really interested in, and I'm going to share with you my ideas using a slide. because I feel more confident if I have the slide. And I'm going to start by the word learning. If we are teachers, the word learning is always there. We should embrace learning as part of our lives and as part of our lives forever. It's not that we already studied and our studies are over, so I'm not going to learn never again. No, we have to embrace learning as a way of living. And because the question here was about professionalization. One of the things that we have to have very clear is aspirations. And when I say aspirations, I mean what makes me feel happy, what makes me feel complete. And here I should have to also think not only about my own goals, but also about the goals of the institution that I'm working at. Imagine that you're working in a school that is not providing the values that you believe in, then shouldn't you be working in a different school? So that's something to think about, because if you align your own aspirations with the aspirations and goals of the institution that you're working in, but for sure you will be a bit more happy, yeah? Another thing is change. And I think that before we always were talking about change, but now after COVID, I think change is the only certain thing that we will have. Embracing change is key here. And I'm not only talking about changing the ways we teach or changing the ways we learn or changing a position or changing an institution. I'm also talking about changing our careers if necessary. I told you at the beginning, if you were connected, you know that my first my first profession is graphic design. And after doing graphic design, because I was teaching arts, I discovered the passion of teaching. And this is how I became a teacher, and I studied for becoming a teacher in a university, and I have my formal training. And then I came by chance in the world of VLT, and I simply love it. I'm passionate about it, but this is not how my life started. So change is something to embrace. Another thing is performance. And when I talk here about performance, I don't mean only what we can do on our own. And here I'm sort of going back to what has been said many times here, and that Arturo is clearly defending here. No, I'm talking about what can you give in a team. Is people willing to have you in their team? Is people looking for you to ask for your opinion? Do you add value to your team? And if you look at how you perform individually and as a team player in the institution you work at, then maybe you will find spaces to improve. Collaboration is going to be very important from now on. We will not be able to move forward if we try to do it individually. We will have to collaborate, yes or yes. Sorry about that. And then, and if you look at how at the order that I did things, the person, the yourself, is the last one to look at. And here, what I think is that we should also look at our likes, our dislikes, our strengths, our weaknesses, work on our strengths to make them more powerful, work on our weaknesses to try to fix what we can. But in terms of learning, because back again to the professionalization thing, we have to know how we really like to learn. Imagine you don't like to learn online and that's the only option that you have. Then maybe partner with a colleague and do it together so that you can do it face-to-face with your colleague, but online, the two of you. So it's really, really important. If you plan something in your learning that you don't like, believe me, even if you commit, you won't be able to finish it. So that learning should be planned. You have to commit to your plan, and I'm pretty sure that you will succeed. In terms of what is here, what's in the options here, you have many things. Some are from Cambridge, some are not, but I'm pretty sure you will find what you like, what you want to do. Thank you.
Isabel, next one.
Leticia.
Okay. Well, as teachers, we never stop learning. No? We are lifelong learners. We are in constant training, so we have to be aware of our roles, and we need to be updated. To be an English teacher, as we have discussed, it is necessary to have a good command of the language, and it has to be demonstrated by an international certification. To have a master's degree in teaching English as a foreign language, and a doctorate if it is possible, and it is a must if you want to work in a university, to have a master and to have a doctorate, no? To give workshops, not only attend them, to give workshops, webinars. I think it is necessary also to observe and supervise teachers, because we have another view of what teachers are doing during their classes, no? To apply for scholarships, to have the experience of taking courses in English-speaking countries. It helps you a lot to be competitive in what are we doing, no? Most of them are requirements maybe the institutions need, but I am talking about the personal desire to be better teachers every day, no? And we also have to invest in education. It is not only to invest time, it is demanding, it is tiring. Today is Sunday and we are here working together, discussing some very important aspects, but it is an invest in time, no? Preparation demands time and effort. And there is also an invest in money investment, because if we want to take some courses for be better teachers, we have to pay for them. But I think it is necessary, no? And I think those aspects are very important for our professional development, no? And to reach our personal and professional goals. I think that is my opinion in that point.
Thank you so much, dear Leticia. Next, Julio.
Okay, yeah, I would like to share a quotation that I found very interesting. No, it's like this one. Every teacher needs to improve, not because they are not good enough, but because they can even be better. You know? So it's something that I always keep in mind, because there is always, as Isabel and Leticia and Karina have mentioned it. Yeah, we need to improve, but why? It should come from our inner self. And I was going to mention that we should also know ourselves. And that has to do with Isabel mentioned about the learning being the center, and also knowing who am I as a teacher, who am I as a person. Yes, I remember when I was working with Jaime in Piura, and when we were working on teacher training courses, and also Leticia mentioned about the investment of money, no, on time, and what Isabel mentioned about the commitment. So everything gets together there. And I always tell Jaime, no, time problem, family problems, and money problems, they're always going to be there. They won't disappear. So we have to learn how to handle them. Yes, maybe if I don't have money now, maybe I can do the doctorate program that I want to do it next year. Yes, maybe I'll start saving from this year. So all depends on our commitment, on our inner drive. Yes. And when I say who am I, it has to do with what Isabella and Karina mentioned. No? What about my experience? What about my command of language? The better command of language I have, the more fluent and the more confident I am. And that really happens. No? It's like when we're teaching primary and kinder, who are the teachers, the principals sent to teach primary and kinder? The ones that have the lower level. And that's not fair. I mean, they should go very well-experienced teacher with very good command of language. So that confidence also is transmitted to the learners, the small learners, the kids. Yes. Also in terms of who am I? Do I have a university degree in English, in education? Do I want to have one? What for? Again, it comes to self-reflect. You know? So do I want one, or just because my principal is asking me to do that? Also, what do I teach? I teach primary, secondary, at university level, at a language institute. Is it different to teach in those different levels? It is indeed, but how different it is. Yes. What can I do in order to learn from a primary teacher, from a secondary teacher, from a teacher who teaches at university? Yes. And also, who am I in terms of, as also Isabel mentioned, strengths. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? So I can start working and building up my teacher development based on that kind of knowledge. Yes. And my objectives. We should have objectives in our lives. So I think we should also work on our reflection of our teaching, of ourselves, yes, and working also on our humane part, our human part, is our human self. Yes. What am I? What am I? Thank you. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, and the question now is, who are you? Who are you?
Who?
Glenda Gallardo.
Who? Julio or who?
Okay, no, you, Julio, who are you? Okay.
Oh, you know me quite well, Jaime. I think okay, Jaime and Isabel and Arturo, they know me, my strengths and my weaknesses, and I don't want to share it now because I can be.
We love you, and
I can be so nice, but the next second I can be a pain in the neck, and that's something that I have to work on. I know I have to work on that, but at least I know it, I acknowledge it, and I can share it. So maybe you could say then, Julio, if you have this problem, you can go to this psychologist, no? Or maybe, Julio, you just should go to a psychiatrist instead of psychologist because you have no cure. But here I am. This is me.
I'm speechless now. Okay, and finally, Arturo and Enrique. Who goes next?
On the same question?
Yeah, the same on the last question.
Yeah, I believe, as you know me, Jaime, and everybody does, I believe in continuing professional development. As Karina said, it's a process. It's a lifelong learning. We never stop. But I think that we should have some help from part of our institutions, or if you work for the public sector, from part of the government. Because I think that it also helps you as a career development in an advance in your salary. And our country, I think, should provide teachers with teaching, I would call it like a financial allowance for obtaining further continuing professional development. That's a dream. As Julio said, there are many things that can be changed yet. But I am a true believer that if we keep on trying, it's like water, no? Dripping, 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 little by little, it will happen. Another thing is that I think I wrote something else here. Something I learned when I was very young is that when you want to work for an institution, as many other executives do, the first thing you ask is, okay, salary is important, but what about professional development? Am I going to learn something here? Am I going to grow as a professional in this institution? Because it's not only about money, it's about professional development, personal development, opportunities for development in the institutions we choose. I think that we share this idea with Julio, and I think that you have to keep on growing. If you don't, you can be a teacher for 20 years, but you will be teaching the same way you started 20 years ago. But if you've been teaching for 20 years and you've become a better teacher over the years, that's what we look for. I think that's my personal belief.
Yeah, your sentence reminds me of what Julio used to say, and he keeps on saying, I'm sure. How long have you been a teacher? 20 years. You have 20 years of experience repeating the same thing that you learned the first and the second year, or you
have acquired different experiences and knowledges and everything. Oh yes, definitely. That's true.
We all have, all the people here and the people in live in Facebook Live also have. And finally, Enrique Liñán.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
This was so interesting. I wanted to share, kind of summarize what you all have said. I was thinking about that one question.
Please do, Enrique, please do.
And I wanted to, I kind of like drew this pathway of kind of like what I did in order to get to where I am. And maybe this could help some of the teachers who are still like trying to find the way, right, of what to do. So basically, one of the things that we mentioned is getting the English language proficiency or competency at the beginning, right, before you even start going into college. I think that's one of the challenges that we have, is that a lot of the pedagogicos or colleges or universities, they don't have a language requirement. So any student can apply and they start getting trained to be English teachers, but they don't even know how to speak the language, right? So that's a challenge. So I would recommend, get a certificate before you even get your bachelor's degree. And after you get your bachelor's degree, then continue on, getting trained, attend workshops, attend seminars, get specialization courses. Then aim for that proficiency certificate, either ECP or CAE or CPE or IELTS, and then maybe go and get a graduate degree, like Leticia was saying, a master's degree or a PhD, and after that, start training others and sharing what you have, right? If you learn and learn and learn and only acquire that, but don't share it, then you're not giving back to the community. Something that that you just mentioned, Jaime, about what Julio used to say about having 20 years of experience and just repeating the same thing. I went to a workshop once and I heard this speaker say and that's why I decided to include this scale here. And think about this, and this is food for thought. Think about how many years of experience do I have and how many years of training do I have, and try to balance them out. If you have 25 years of experience, but you only had a bachelor's degree of 5 years, then think about that, right? Like, how are you getting trained? Try to equate those two, right? Years of experience with years of training. I think that's something very important for us to have quality education. I think we all think about or always say like, oh yeah, no, we need to improve education in our country, but it starts with us, right? It starts with teachers being aware of what we need to do and continue to learn and continue to grow professionally. Back to you, Jaime.
Thank you. It was very illustrating, very encouraging, very, very, very Enrique. Thank you so much. Now let's give Mary. You had some good news to reveal about your work in Peru. Is that possible? Is that possible to let the cat out of the bag or keep it in the bag?
Oh, it's a really nice bag.
Cat is comfortable.
Well, I just wanted to share, first of all, electricity came back just in time, so it's nice to be able to see you all together on my screen. And it's been really sweet to meet people that I haven't met before and hear. I just think that this group of people, together with Minedu, is a powerful group of leaders for education in Peru and for teacher development and growth in Peru. I can just feel it. I can feel the energy. And everybody contributed a piece of the puzzle of the answers, I think, in going from professional growth to teacher communities to working on our, I don't like to use the word soft skills anymore. I think the word pro-social skills or our, because soft skills aren't soft, they're actually quite hard to do. And I think it takes away, we're using pro-social a little bit more now. And those of you that know me know I'm a big component of that. And Julio, God bless your authenticity. I just want to support you. I think we need to know who we are, and we're human. So, and we're growing and we're learning. And one of my friends, colleagues, and teachers, Raj, is here with us today, and she's helped me learn a lot too over the years. So I'm with you on that growth, Julio, as you probably know, because I met you 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So yeah, and one of the things that I think is so crucial, and I just want to share, like I've seen this in other TESOL organizations. Specifically, I always talk about TESOL in Venezuela because they have had a really powerful national organization with regional groups that have helped leaders grow.
Yes.
And I've seen it more there than it might be my limited knowing of other countries and how they've worked. I'm based in Costa Rica, and I work in many different countries in the region, or have worked. But TESOL has been really a shining star for me in my vision of what is possible. And I see that in Peru too. Like, you all have so many leaders that could work together to support each other, to develop communities of practice, both in the Ministry of Education and university system, and the what I can sort of consider myself, we kind of go alongside or in between those two systems in the professional development realm. And yeah, we're really excited. We're doing some work with Minedu, thanks to the Relo's office, working on leadership with some educational leaders from Peru. It's just started a 10-month process. We started a few weeks ago, and I'm incredibly honored, and I'm so excited to be back in Peru. Super excited, and I hope that we can contribute to the work that you all are doing. You have amazing teachers. My dogs are excited too. You have 4 teachers from the Ministry of Education that have a Facebook page with 14,000 members. You're amazing, you guys. You have that. So the dogs celebrate, I celebrate, and I think it's a really great start to the new year to think about. I'm sorry about the dogs. I should probably stop. But think about what you all are offering and what the Minedu has. And you see the British Council working, the U.S. Embassy working together, and it's just really beautiful. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop talking because of the dogs, but it's beautiful, and we're really excited to be with you.
I guess they are complaining because you are leaving them alone.
Yes.
Well, please, Cintia, Carlos, Fanny, Milagritos, Mirta, Elmer, Ani, Salazar, Liliana Alvarado, Marisa, Guacho, Tito Hidalgo, Pilar, Rubén, Mauricio, and Glenda, and Roxy, and Ellie. If you have or want to say something, this is the time, please.
May
Briefly, please. I need to cook.
Not only you.
Thank you, Arturo. I knew it.
Not only you.
We have to cook.
You have to.
May yes. I say something very, very quick? Yes? Okay.
Of course,
well, I'm Glenda, and well, I'm from Lima, Peru. And well, I agree with all the things you've said, and especially if you're a teacher like me listening to me in this moment, I just want to encourage you to prioritize. This year has had a lot of learning, and it's been like overwhelming. If you were not teaching online and there were lots of things to learn at a very fast, so fast to learn. But I think we have to embrace all the things we've learned, but we have to prioritize. And what the guys said, yes, what do I want to achieve? But not forget about ourselves either, because sometimes we go into the learning, or I want to learn this, apply this, and then we forget the human side. And we have students that are also learning with us, students who had also never learned, online, and they were in a process to get used to all the tools and how it works. So just prioritize, take it easy, maybe begin with one thing, but keep doing it, and invest. Whenever you have some money, invest on your internet, on having a good laptop, and keep training, and apply, I don't know, one thing, but begin with something. Don't forget about the learning you've gathered all this year. Yes, and just go on. And we are here to support each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenda. Thank you, because this space was created or continued because of that. Because as Edison from Ecuador, he said, this is the place where we drink water, we eat food, we feed our souls, and we feel our spirits. And that's the way we feel here. Anybody else, please? Before
Yes, Jaime, it's time to create our Peruvian Federation of English Teachers first.
Federation, it sounds like Mexico.
Sure.
Like Brazil, Venezuela, the Federation.
Jaime,
yes, Arturo.
Only one little comment for Ruben. That's a great idea, Ruben. I didn't want to say it, but it's on its way. But it's not going to be called a federación, because federación sounds a little bit like companies. It's going to have another term that I won't reveal right now. Nobody knows yet. It's being cooked. It's being cooked little by little, but I think that it's necessary, Ruben. Everybody together in one North, and it's coming. The thing is that every institution should keep its individuality. Everybody keep on working, doing what they've been doing, but have like a seat in one of these institutions. I don't want to give you the name yet. That you can have a seat there per institution, and we can have a say and then vote. And then we can go to the ministry, we can go to different places and give our opinion as one, not as different communities or different associations. That is necessary, Ruben. Great for coming up with the idea. I didn't want to say anything, but I think it's necessary right now.
And that's great, but don't mention the word cook, because Jaime and I have to go.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Thank you, Roxy, please. And then we can stop with the final comments of our guest speakers.
Thank you very much to all of you guys for this reflecting time. I think we all of us know all the things and all the situations that we have all around the country, rural and the city areas. And I think one of the most important tasks that we have to get now is to get a responsibility, and it's time of action. It's time for stop talking much and for start doing things. I think we are all of us into this road, and I would like if all of us, each of us, take a homework and said, okay, what I'm going to do with what I have heard today, what I'm going to do, what I have reflected on today. I'm going to have a small group of my teachers in my company. I'm going to talk to them, to spread the news and start moving and start doing. I don't want to wait until COVID-19 is over, because we don't know when it's going to be over, probably 2022, 23, we don't know. It depends on the countries, but the time is now, is to start moving today with all the reflection we have had today. And I'm sure that what you have said is very difficult to change things, but we are not into changing things. We are into adapting things, modifying things, adequating things, according to my reality to your reality. I want to say thank you very much for this blessed time, for this reflective opportunity. And I'm sure all of us have a task now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roxy. Okay, final words, Julio.
My final words.
Final words.
Julio, final words.
I'm sorry to tell you.
It sounds scary.
That's
the point. Final words. I think, again, we should keep on reflecting on what we do, on who we are, on who we want to be. If we have those lines of reflection clear, I think we can come up with solutions, as Roxana says. Roxana, believe me, I said those words almost 10 years ago. I think Arturo was there. I don't know if somebody else was there, but we have to do that. Now, I think with this shift in teaching, I think is the only time. It's like when internet came. No, internet came in 1990s. Yes, internet, oh, that great tool. And nobody used it until 2000 something, after 10 years or so. So now online teaching, it was before, like 5, 8, 9 years ago.
Nobody used it.
Nobody used it. Now we have to. So I think this is the time to shift. This is the time to change. Yes. So I hope I can get in touch with some of you and say, okay, what can we do, Julio? What can we do in order to continue this great idea and project that Jaime has already started? Yes. So let's keep on reflecting on ourselves, on our teaching, on our lives, on what we want to do and what we want to be. And thank you very much for this opportunity. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Julio Alberto Valladares Pacherre. Thank you so much.
Complete name.
I see Enrique has a slide that reflects what we are saying.
Yeah. Okay, Arturo, please.
Final
Enrique,
words.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Well, that's interesting. I think that we as teachers have to, I always say this to Julio knows me, we have to see the forest, not the tree. If we keep on seeing the tree in front of us, we will never grow as a community. We have to see the forest, and we have to learn from others. And it's very interesting to know, we have in the teaching field, we have engineers, we have lawyers, we have graphic designers, we have marketing experts, we have a lot of other professions. And I think that if we have embraced the field of teaching, myself, I'm a lawyer, but I love teaching. So if there is something that we can contribute for this novel profession, I think we should do it. Julio has a lot of experience as an engineer, me as a lawyer, Isabel as a graphic designer. We can do a lot to make the field of ELT much, much better and better in this country. I think we have a lot to give. That would be my final words. Yes.
Thank you, Arturo. Enrique?
Thank you, Jaime. As Rasha was just saying, I wanted to end with this quote, right? It says, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on our own experiences, right? Or on our experiences. And I think that's something that sometimes we don't have time to do, right? We are, as Glenda was saying, like, it's fast, there's this fast pace, we need to move from face-to-face learning to online learning. Their emergency remote teaching hit in March, and we had to adapt, and we didn't really have time to reflect. Right? It's important to have these spaces to be reflective practitioners, right? Thinking about what we do, how we do it. Metacognition was mentioned earlier, and thinking about how we learn, but also thinking about our experiences, right? And what we do, and even when we're speaking English, when we are writing something, when we're writing a lesson plan, right? Thinking about that, and after we do it, also reflecting on that. I think that's important. And again, that's a good place to start from ourselves and then take action. Thank you, Jaime, again for this invitation.
Thank you, dear Enrique. Next is Karina. Karina.
Thank you, Jaime. Thank you in advance for this opportunity. And I would like to advise our colleagues that consider the learn and relearn approach to stay ahead, and also develop yourselves, keep your teaching philosophy, and make a better version of yourselves every day. Keep that passion and motivation that you have shown during these difficult times, and your students will give you the best reward, the best promotion, the best degree ever. Their love and recognition to you and your hard work. And I would like to finish with this quote, that it is the teacher that makes the difference, not the classroom, not the resources. You make the difference. Thank you for the wonderful job that you have been doing in Peru, for your creativeness, for your passion, for your dedication. Thank you, Jaime. Thank you, colleagues, for this great opportunity today.
Thank you, Karina.
Thank you, Karina.
Thank you, because we are the result of many people, I guess, of many opportunities, of many blessings, like David Fay, like Raj Gill, like Mary Shaw, like Julio Valladares, like Arturo Fee, like everyone. So we come from because of different opportunities, different experiences, and we are not, we didn't do it alone, okay? Thank you, Karina. And then is Leticia.
Okay, now, what can I recommend? Never stop learning, no? Continue with the professional continuous development. I think we need to do a SWOT analysis of ourselves to know what are our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. And not only to reflect, but to act and to start preparing in it. No? Improve collaborative learning, to have meetings with our colleagues in order to see how can start working next year. No? Take these holidays we are going to have and to reflect and to organize the work for next year. And at last but not least, take into account the students' affective factor. Be tolerant, be empathetic, be patient with them, and treat the students with respect, love, and enthusiasm. Thanks a lot for this great opportunity. Thanks, Jaime. And I think and I agree with everybody that you are doing a great job with all the teachers of English in our country. And it was very nice to see you all. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year 2021. Thank you.
The same for you. Yes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
the same to you, dear Leticia. And I repeat, you want to do something, but if you don't have friends like you, if you don't have the facilities, if you don't have help or support of other people, you can't do anything. So we need each other. So the federation is coming soon. Arturo doesn't know, but I'm going to create the federation.
Help you. I will help you. I will help you.
I knew, Arturo. And finally, the last but not the
it's for everybody, Jaime. Not. It's for everybody. It's for everybody.
So okay, we have Isabel.
Thank you, Jaime. I want to say three things. One is resilience. Resilience is a word that hasn't come up today, but let's be honest. We are all so resilient. I think we are the champions of resilience. Please keep that mindset. Please keep on fighting. We can always do well. We can always do better. The other thing is, how do you start? By stepping forward, but making one small action. And this leads me to my third question. Thank you. And I want to thank all of you, but mainly Jaime, because I think that this is part of those actions that we want to make in order to change reality. So thank you very much to all the teachers that have stayed with us for all this more than
2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been a privilege once more, Jaime.
Yeah, no, the privilege has been for all the people who have been following us. 2,000 people reached in Facebook Live, 2,000. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Raj. Thank you. Well, we don't have time to thank. Thank you, Marisa, Julio, Raj, Emily. Emily, I'm so grateful for you because she was my student. Then she stopped working, stopped studying, she dropped off, and then she went to Mexico, and then she got married there, and then she finished her studies over there, and now she's following us. And I'm sure that she will be giving her first workshop with us next year, telling us about her experience in Mexico. Right, Emily? Yeah, that is yes. Okay. Thank you,
yes.
Karina. Glenda are you in New York, Glenda?
Jaime, hello. I just
It
want
looks
to...
like, yes. I wanted to go to New York this year, but it's still on my bucket list.
Okay. Thank you, Roxy.
Jaime, hello.
Thank you.
Marisa wants to say something.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know. But let me finish with my thank yous. Thank you, Isabel, Leticia, Ruben, Mauricio. Thank you so much, Mauricio. Mauricio is a good friend of mine. We will be traveling soon, Mauricio.
Granada.
Yes, back to Granada. Thank you, Enrique, Mary, Tito, Elmer, Annie, Salazar, Liliana, Pilar, another of my students. Thank you, Pilar, Arturo, Cynthia, Carlos, Fanny, Mirta, and the thousands of followers in Facebook Live. Marisa.
Just want to thank everyone who made it possible. When anytime I talked to Jaime, he told me that it was not only him. I think he was the main person interested in making it grow, but I think it was basically like a combination, no, of everyone's effort, people from different countries getting together. I just want to acknowledge that this was very, very important for teachers in Peru. So last thing, just I want to share that a couple of days ago, I was hearing a talk about an expert in soft skills and these topics. And he mentioned something important, that is adaptability. Adaptability is something we all need to improve even more. And especially this year that we have faced this terrible situation, but we have found this bright side, no? The connection we have now. Thank you very much. Just that. Thank you. Thank everyone here for giving the time, for sharing the expertise you have, and happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you, Marisa. Nice to hear from you. And I guess that, Ruben, we will ask for delivery. We don't have time.
No time for cooking.
It was short. It was short.
No, not because of you. We were planning at the most 2 hours, but if we've been here like 2 hours and 30 minutes, and let me give the last words, the final words. It sounds scary to Raj. Please, Raj, say the final words. Bless us and give us and give us your final thoughts, please.
Well, it's heartwarming to be part of this community. It is so beautiful to see this whole community come together in a very blended way. We weave on each other's strengths. We really lift each other up. And I feel very blessed to be part of this community. And with that, I wish you a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And may the resilience be just big fountain of resilience.
Thank you.
Jaime,
Thank you, Raj. I let you know in Facebook who was the winner of the trip to Cusco. Because we don't have time.
And a chocolatada.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Christmas to you all.
Christmas and a happy
Thank
year.
Good to see everyone.
Arturo, I'm waiting for your whiskey, Arturo. Don't forget.
Ruben, ask for delivery.
Yeah.
No time for cooking.
Julio, good luck today, Julio. Good luck today at 3 o'clock.
Well, whatever it is, good luck, Julio.
It's a soccer game. It's a soccer game. A soccer game. A soccer game.
Cristal.
He's a Cristal fan. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. See you. You don't want to go, right?
Okay.
Bye.
No, we don't want to go.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.